I'm the Mademoiselle, and ça c'est deuxième Chanel moi. And as you guys can tell by the title, we're going to be doing another video story time. But before we even get into that, again, thank you guys so much for the birthday wishes as well as the condolences. Happy holidays. I hope everyone is enjoying it. We all know I've been going through a lot, so thank you guys so much if you bought something off my Amazon wish list. It did go directly to my house. And also thank you guys so much for donating to my family's GoFundMe. If you still want to donate, everything is still going to be linked down below. Also, there's some of you guys who have a problem with my profanity. Respectfully, get momo lomed. I don't give a fuck, don't like, don't watch. So yeah, let's get into it. So this story actually took place at least, so if I'm 30 now, oh my God, this had to be at least 7 or 8 years ago, and it happened very close to my neighborhood. I'm not gonna say where, and I'm gonna be very, very vague with the details. As with all my stories, I'm typically very vague with the details, or I do change details for privacy and safety reasons, okay? So this story is probably one of the very few voodoo stories I don't believe. 9 times out of 10, when someone tells me a voodoo, a black magic, or whatever type of story, I'm always like, oh no, I believe it, definitely true. This one, I don't know. And it's only because it's sinister. It's very sinister, and I just could not imagine someone doing this, right? So we're gonna say that this story took place 7 years ago. It's 2025. So we're gonna say 2018, 2019, definitely before the panoramic, right? There was a lady that fell in love with a man. Okay, we're gonna name the lady Leslie, and we're gonna name the husband, we're gonna name him Ulysses. I don't know why that name just popped up in my head. So we have Leslie and Ulysses. They've been in love forever. Leslie and Ulysses were basically high school sweethearts, fell in love in Haiti. I believe Ulysses came here first, and then he got his shit together in order to get Leslie here to the States. They were honestly inseparable until, unfortunately, Ulysses ended up cheating. Story of a lot of our lives, okay? I mean, I feel like a lot of people could relate to being cheated on, and I feel like every single time I hear about it, I'm always like, it is not okay. If you don't want to be with somebody, just leave. But of course, Leslie and Ulysses tried to work through it, but eventually they ended up breaking up due to the infidelity because Ulysses cheated multiple times. But fortunately for Leslie, Leslie did move on and get married to someone else who not only loved her for who she was, but also took in her daughter. Now, by this point, this daughter was young. I'm talking about like 7, 8 years old. And of course, as many women do, she put Ulysses on child support. Now, the thing is with the whole child support conversation, I feel like it's just very stupid because at the end of the day, if you are with someone and y'all break up and y'all have a child, I think child support is imminent. I feel like a lot of people feel like child support is punishment. Child support is something that women put men on in order to be malicious. And I do think a lot of women do that. However, child support is exactly what it says. Child support. It is money for the support of the child, whether you're gonna lock it away and use it for when the kid goes to college, or you're literally gonna use it to actively take care of the child because you can't make ends meet because you are a single parent. Regardless if it is a man paying child support or a woman paying child support, I feel like child support is extremely important, whether it's through the court or something that you guys work out yourself. The idea of men sitting there like, oh, well, I'm an active father, I don't have to pay shit. No, fuck you, because if you guys were together, you would be putting money into taking care of that child. Being a parent is more than just taking the kid to the movies, buying them some Jordans, or taking them to the park or for some little $5 ice cream. You need to support the child financially. Money makes the world go around, okay? At the end of the day, I can't stand when people really be sitting there like, oh, I don't have to pay child support, oh, I'm independent, I don't need no man to pay child support. You don't need it, but your kid does. Fuck you. Nobody cares about you and your ego and the fact that you don't want to sit there and pay whatever it is for whoever or accept the money from whoever. It has nothing to do with you. It is about the child, and people need to learn to put the child first. It has nothing to do with all of y'all and y'all little shitty ass agreements and problems that you have with each other. Whew, sorry y'all, had to get that out there. So of course, Ulysses is put on child support, specifically because Ulysses did not want to agree to the arrangement that Leslie had set forth. If I'm not mistaken, I believe she asked for $400 a month. And for some people, you might think that's not enough. Some people, you might think that's too much. Let's just say that Ulysses was making well over 6 figures. Ulysses had money, so $400 a month was absolutely nothing. nothing. He didn't want to pay anything for this child because he was upset that Leslie had left him. And like many men, they feel like if they cannot control you, if they do not get what they want, then they're just going to make your life a living hell, and they're not going to do whatever it is that you ask them to do, even though doing what you ask them to do is going to be a lot easier. But the thing is with Ulysses, Ulysses has a job where not all his income is tracked. So maybe on paper he makes like $60,000, but like through other means, he's making well over 6 figures. So if she would have, right, if Leslie would have taken him to court, she could have got more, she could have got less, who knows, right? It was only one kid, so asking for $400 a month, she felt like was not that big of a deal. Now, again, there's probably some people watching this like, oh, well, she has a husband. Why does she need him to support? Again, that's your fucking kid. Ou fout dépenser l'argent pour yo, all right? You're going to give money for your kid if you have a kid. It doesn't matter if she's married. It doesn't matter if she's a millionaire. Okay, the child support is for the child directly from the parent. Like I don't know why people don't understand that. But eventually they ended up having to go to court because he didn't want to pay anything, and he ended up having to pay more. Surprise, surprise. If I'm not mistaken, the court ordered him to pay like $600 or something like that. And it was starting to eat away at his pockets because, hey, Ulysses was no longer making 6 figures. And what did I say about the voodoo practice, religion, and culture? It is very karmic. If you're doing fuck shit, if you're doing bad shit, if you're doing shit you know you're not supposed to be doing, it's going to come back for you. You sat here and you didn't want to pay child support for your kid, which was only $400, not mandated through the court. Okay, mind you, $400 a month, which is $100 a week. You ain't want to pay that, and now you had to go to court, and now you got to pay more. Very stupid. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. You're an idiot. So he's not happy about paying this $600, right? However, what's really messed up about this is he didn't want anything to do with the child either. Like, he didn't want to pay the $400. He didn't want to see the child. And now he's very upset that he has to pay the $600. So of course he goes back on the payments. He doesn't give a shit. He's not paying it. He's not caring. He's not answering. He done blocked Leslie. It's a whole thing. And of course, Leslie's husband is being as supportive as possible with this, but this is one of those situations where it's just like you kind of don't want to get involved because like you're not necessarily the child's parent, but you are their step parent. But at the same time, it's like, you know what, let me let my wife or my husband handle their thing, right? So he kind of stayed out of it. Unfortunately for their daughter, I didn't give her name. She doesn't, well, you know what, let's give her a name. We're gonna name the daughter Isabelle. Okay, unfortunately for Isabelle, she did miss her father. She remembered her father. They split like while she was still able to remember him. She had to be like 4 or 5 at the time. So she missed her dad. She would always ask her mom like, hey, where's dad? When can I see dad? Etc. And she didn't know what to tell her. She was extremely heartbroken. She didn't know like whether to tell her daughter the truth or whether to just keep making excuses until, you know, Ulysses came around, wanted to pay the child support and wanted to see his child. So this went on for a minute. Like, I'm talking about like a year or so, like of them going back and forth with this nonsense. At this point, he owes back child support. So it's just not looking good. But I will say Leslie probably kind of gave up on the whole idea of him paying child support because at this point it's like pulling teeth. And, you know, she started being okay with the fact that, you know, she wouldn't be able to force him to see Isabelle. So, hey, it is what it is at this point. You don't want to step up and be a father, then don't be a father. Like, it is what it is. So unfortunately, out of nowhere, Isabella starts getting sick. She starts getting random fevers. They start sending her home from school. She's getting like random sicknesses here and there, but ultimately she gets better. We all know kids get sick all the time. But what was weird with Isabella is they couldn't diagnose anything. It's not like she would go to the doctor and they'd be like, hey, you have a flu. Hey, you have strep throat. Hey, you have tonsillitis. Hey, you have this, you have that. It would just be like, oh, well, I mean, we don't really know. Viral test, antibacterial test, all of it is coming negative. But hey, give her these antivirals, these antibiotics, and hopefully it goes away. And it would go away. So nobody thought anything of it. Like, until she really started getting sick like clockwork. Like, we're talking about like, she's sick this week, she's sick again next week, she's sick again the week after that, she's sick again the week after that. She just started getting sick, and each sickness just kept getting worse to the point where the girl was turning blue. But she was having symptoms of like pneumonia, so that's what they were trying to chop it up to. But they were like, it just didn't really make sense because by this point it is the summer. Like, we're dead in the middle of July and this girl got pneumonia. Like, how the fuck? Like, I mean, hey, it's not impossible. You know, you know, pneumonia could be contagious. Certain forms of pneumonia is you know, you could get it from anywhere. So they were like, okay, maybe, you know, there's something we're not checking into. Maybe she has some sort of cancer. Maybe her white blood cell count. Like, they were checking everything. And ultimately, unfortunately, when she got sick this last time, she ended up passing away suddenly at home after they brought her home from the hospital. Of course, very sad, very depressing, but also just very random. Although she was getting sick all the time, she wasn't necessarily terminally ill, except for when they tried to say she had pneumonia. But even at that, they weren't even sure that it was pneumonia. They were in the process trying to figure out exactly what was going on with this girl, and they never got any answers. They were sitting there like, bro, how the hell did this girl just die out of nowhere? Doctors were confused. Family was confused. At this point, the girl was like 8 or 9 when she passed away. And that's when, of course, Leslie goes to an Ogon, right? And she asked the Ogon, like, hey, like, I just lost my daughter. They said she was sick. They don't know what the sickness was. However, I feel like it might be some foul play. Now, Leslie, like many people, had a lot of shit going on, right? There were people at her job that didn't like her. There were family members that were jealous. There were exes that, you know, didn't really like her. So she really was thinking like, oh, okay, maybe it's one of those things. Maybe, I don't know, like, but somebody to attack my daughter, like, that's absolutely unprecedented. So this Ogon has to do a lot. Like, I'm talking about, like, the Ogon got sick in the process of trying to tell her what the fuck was going on. And this goes into what I talked about when I talked about my aunt, like the aunt that I don't talk to. What did I name her? Auntie something. But she had something sent after her to the point where the mumbo died trying to get it off her. I probably might tell the story about that on this channel soon. Like, literally, whatever it is that they sent, like the zombies that they sent after my aunt were so powerful that they killed the mumbo trying to get it off her. And this Ogon almost died trying to figure out and uncover what the hell is going on with this child, because there's a lot of trials and tribulations and hoops you have to jump to find out who cursed, who hexed, who killed somebody using black magic. So this Ogon is like, you know, I'm gonna get back to you on that, because, you know, at this point he already could tell, like, yeah, there's some malicious shit going on. He's trying to throw shit, trying to like figure out, trying to uncover, trying to unweave, like, yo, what is going on here? He's getting sick, he's out of commission. Leslie keeps hitting him up like, hey, any update? Hey, what's going on? Hey, do you know this? Do you know that? And he's just like, I'll get back to you. I'm not feeling well today. Like, I'm hospital. Like, I was in the hospital. Something happened. So at this point, when he goes to the hospital for like the 3rd time, he's like, okay, nah, there's something going on. So he brings someone else on this, which happened to be like a boko or something. He's like, yo, I keep getting sick every single time I try to look into this situation with this little girl. So please do your thing and figure it out. So he commissions it out to the boko. Hopefully she ain't had to pay for that, because that's crazy. But now the boko starts looking into shit. He's like, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but someone killed your daughter. Like, I don't want to tell you who, because this is some touchiness, but someone killed her. This was not just her getting sick. Child, as you can imagine, Leslie is hysterical. Leslie tells her family, they're hysterical. Everybody is upset. Everybody is just like, this little girl lost her life because someone sent something after her. Who sent something after her? Now, of course, the Bokor being the Bokor is like, oh, I could tell you who it is, and I could also help you return the sender. Even though your daughter is deceased right now, you can still do something, you know, to get back at them for what they did to your daughter, because, like, this is messed up. Like, you know, I don't mess with dealing with children. Like, you know, you leave the innocents alone. But in this case, you know, this is just, you know, a lie. If you really want to know and you really want help, you know, I could help you with that. So Leslie kind of held off, because she was just like, I don't know anyone that would want to hurt my daughter or want to hurt me so bad that they would attack my daughter. She held off for a while on finding out who it was, until somebody told her that this man Ulysses was out here popping hella shit and hiding money from his bank accounts and all of that, so that he wouldn't have to pay child support for Isabella. So at this point, she starts thinking like, ain't no fucking way. Ain't no way you about to tell me that Ulysses is the culprit here. So her being her, you know, she didn't want to know. She keeps pushing this shit off, okay? Mind you, it wasn't that long. I'm making it sound like it was long, but it wasn't that long. I'm talking about like 1 day, 2 day, because at this point, Isabella's not even buried yet, okay? The funeral took place like the week after or 2 weeks after. So at this point, Isabella's not even buried yet, right? So she goes back to the Ogon and the Bokor, and she's like, listen, I want to know exactly who it is, because if it's who I think it is, I'm not going to know like what to do with myself, how to live, how to process this. So, of course, the Bokor tells her, the person who sent a zombie okay, to kill your daughter is your ex-husband, Ulysses. Now, of course, right? Typically when an Ogon, a Bokor, a Mumbo, or whatever it tells you like, oh, someone sent something after you or this person did this, they typically kind of help you navigate. They don't always just say, oh, c'est moun sa ki te fel. Typically, they give you like a description. They give you da-da-da-da. So basically, the Bokor was like, well, this person was very upset that you tied them into something legally. I mean, it looks like it had to do with money. Honestly, whoever it is or whatever it is, whatever spirits or zombies they worked with were attacking the Ogon. Hence why, you know, he contacted me. But whoever this is extremely close to the child and was very upset that they were locked into something legally. That's basically what they said in a nutshell. Obviously, it's fucking Ulysses, right? Like, who else is it gonna be? Like, it was just so crazy because at this point, she is, when I tell y'all alpha blood, she pulls up to Ulysses' house. She's slashing tires. She's breaking the car. She's trying to fight him. I think Ulysses had a new bitch at the time. She's trying to fight the new bitch. Like, it became such a big thing to the point where, like, niggas was afraid to pull up to the funeral, nigga. I didn't go to the funeral because I was like, first of all, seeing kids in a casket, surreal, unnatural, something I don't want to do. Obviously, I had a lot of friends that passed away due to the gun violence and I went to their funerals, and I will say probably some of the hardest funerals to go to because kids should not be in a casket. No one should be in a casket before their time, but it's especially hard to see a child. So much potential in a casket. So I just was like, I'm staying away from it, but finding out all of this shit because word travel fast, I was like, oh, hell no.
Sorry, y'all, manger la. So I completely like keep realizing these zombie. I mean to say diab, okay? Yo voyons diab. They sent a diab, aka a monster, which I guess zombie makes sense, but for a lot of Haitians watching this, y'all probably like, why she keep saying zombie? Technically, diab. All right, sorry. Also, there's a lot of things that I'm omitting from this story. You don't really need the further context, but just know that at one point, he did have visitation with the child, so we think that, like, everybody thinks that maybe, like, he slipped something on her, whatever the case may be, and that's how whatever spell got on her, whatever job got on her. It's just a very sad situation. Also, when it comes to a mumbo or ogo, a priestess, anybody telling you information about, oh, this person did something, they're never, depending, 99% of the time, depending on what type of high priest or priestess this is, they are never going to be able to tell you, like, oh, it's your mom, it's your dad, it's your uncle, it's always going to be a very specific description. I've only been to maybe one person that was able to say, like, you know, it's this person, like whatever, like, but very rare. Typically, they're like, oh, it's someone you were in a relationship with. Oh, it's someone that you used to go to work with, whatever. So yeah, bear that in mind.
Like, ain't no way Ulysses getting down like that. Ain't no way Leslie fighting, because Leslie is a calm, collected spirit. She's chill. She don't do much. And I feel like that's exactly why Ulysses did what he did, because not only did he not want to pay the child support, but she wasn't going to do shit. Like, she's one of those God-fearing Christians that doesn't want to, you know, curse at people, do people wrong. She believes in the power of the word of Jesus Christ, which is extremely powerful. But at the same time, there's other things out there that can affect you and can attack you. Doesn't matter if you're baptized, if you're not baptized, if you're Methodist, if you're Baptist, if you're Adventist, if you're Muslim, it doesn't matter. There's evil out there. Okay, just as much as there's good, there's evil out there. And she's not one to dibble and dabble in voodoo or black magic. So it was one of those things where she left it to God, even though she was upset and she was beating niggas up. But her family was not about to let that shit go. Her family, they get down like that. They were very known for doing black magic and shit like that. So they was making shit shake. Funeral happens, child. Okay, fighting breaks out at this child's funeral. People are screaming and yelling and going off, talking about how it is his fault. Meanwhile, the audacity, the nerve galling audacity. People on Ulysses' family are sitting there blaming her, saying she should have took care of her child better. And they're also trying to put blame on her new husband, saying that it was him that killed the child. Mind you, he took this kid in like it was his own child. He didn't kill shit. But hey, who knows? I will say, like I said in the beginning, this is one of those stories where I'm like, don't know what I believe. I don't know. Like, it's just, when people tell me, hey, my mom did black magic on me, my dad did black magic on me, my family member hates me, they're doing this, that, and the third to me. When people tell me these things, I'm always just in awe and I'm in shock that someone could do something so evil and so malevolent to a family member, especially their own child. So that's why every time I think about this story, right, every time I think about that little girl, I'm just like, this is sad. Like, it's sad, but I'm just like, there's no way somebody did that to their child. But at the same time, people are evil out there. There's some fucked up people out there. There's some people out there that really will do anything to keep money, to make money. So I don't put it past them, but it's just so heartbreaking and it's unfair and it's not right. That little girl didn't deserve what happened to her. So from what I understand, Ulysses, I don't know. I think they might have did something to him. Last I checked, he was sick, but he wasn't dying. He was just sick. I don't know if they really threw something back at him. He moved away. Leslie moved away. Like, I haven't heard about that family in a long time. But it was an extremely sad, like, situation. Like, I had a lot of friends that went to the funeral and they were telling me the shit was a shit show, and I was just like, yeah, I'm happy I didn't go. My condolences to that family, my condolences to that little girl. She didn't deserve that. I really hope she was able to move on, and I really hope Ulysses went and repented for his sins, or he burns in hell, because killing a child, especially your own child, is absolutely disgusting on all fronts. With that being said, comment down below, do you guys think that Ulysses did something to his child? Do you think that she was just naturally sick? Do you think shit, it could have been the stepdad? I don't know. I think if anything did happen, it was definitely Ulysses. But hey, she really could have also been sick and it was just undetected. But I mean, going to numerous hospitals and them telling you like, we don't know what's wrong with your child, that's some serious shit. Like, that means something's really going on. But at the same time, things could just be undiagnosed or, you know, undiscovered illnesses. So with that being said, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. Do you have any similar stories? Please make sure you guys peep the description box to check out all my other channels. If you guys are watching this is my Haitian channel. I have multiple channels now. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Bye!